Hi, my name is Lolita Sorelius, and I'm the founding partner at Fund Consulting. I'm here to talk to you on this video about one of my favorite subjects, how to craft an effective business strategy for your funding application. Now, one of the questions in terms of choosing an objective that we get all the time, almost 100% of the time, is what objective does the CDFI fund like? And really the answer is there's not one objective that's more fundable than others, and choosing multiple objectives is not going to increase your odds of getting funding. You should choose an objective based on your strategic plan and your business model, not trying to fit in some perceived mold, and not what you think the CDFI fund wants to hear. The objective you do choose is linked to a set of performance measures, and part of your decision should also be based on whether or not you think you can achieve the performance measures. Also, you want to take into account if you have applied in the past and have been funded in the past, take into account that application. So in terms of making that compelling argument, we think of business strategy as a connect the dots. You start with an assessment of need and demand, then with a description of how your strategic plan addresses this, and then your product or approach that you're proposing in the application needs to be linked to impact and outcomes that address the needs that you documented. Objectives need to be linked to need and demand data with citing sources. It's not just about crafting that flowery and compelling story. You need a business approach, you need data to support it, and you need to cite the sources. As I mentioned, your objective needs to be linked to need and demand data and your formal strategic plan goal. You should indicate very clearly when your CDFI formally approved your last strategic plan, what the period of performance is for the strategic plan, and where exactly your funding objective fits into your strategic plan goal. Also, your proposed product expansion or approach in general should clearly address the need that you documented in the application, and you need to document that there is demand for the product. Link that data to your financial projections. Additionally, your impact and outcomes should be directly linked to the need and proposed approach. Also, you have to prove, just as in any business plan, that you have the staffing, expertise, partnerships, and technology to implement the plan that you are proposing. Also, we hear more often than not in the competition section, we have no competition, we're all partners. That's just not the case, that you really have to understand the competitive landscape, the financial market in general. Who are your competitors, and what's your niche? Do you have a clear approach for standing out from others? There is a section in which to highlight your partnerships, but you really have to show that you do understand your competition. Finally, we want to talk about potential pitfalls that we've seen a lot in application preparation. As I mentioned previously, worrying about creating a story rather than a pragmatic data-backed business argument or goal. Also, in terms of data, only focusing on either need or either demand and not addressing both and differentiating both. As I mentioned previously, the common pitfall is saying that you have no competition, only partners. And you really have to, we see that very commonly, you really have to differentiate yourself. And finally, having, usually these applications are written by a team of folks, and there's a lot of hands. So we've seen that having multiple contributors, often sometimes that connect the dots element that really makes for a competitive application really could get lost. So make sure that you have someone doing a read through to make sure that you are clearly connecting those dots. Thank you so much for taking the time to look at this video, and best of luck to you in your application.